And
Yes, he gave everything.
How you doing?
how's it going?
Howdy. Mark Delaney.
Mark, Jim Renton.
Good to meet you. I'm good, thank you.
Craig Danklin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Chris is on it now?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Chris is on it. Okay. Nice.
We're official now.
Yeah. You're not official till you have Shanklin on board.
Uh-huh.
You have a spare packet? Is there a spare anywhere?
Right here.
All right. Look at the ALP. It's got one little boo-boo on there, like, we gotta fix it. That's okay.
How's it going?
Fix it on the fly.
The ALP?
Yeah. I forgot to send him I sent him the wrong lease.
Oh,
I sent him the one that still had apartments in it,
oh, okay.
and we cut that out. It's an easy fix. It's just a line.
No big deal. Talked to, well, I got an email back from Ben at the state today.
Yeah, isn't there a realignment of planners or something?
He said we got a new planner and that 2 airports kind of took up most of the available state funds. And so that slid everything back like at least 1 to 2 years. He's
Right,
like, we got your name in there,
right.
but we don't know how and when we're going to get the funds.
Oh, for our capital project.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I was talking to Stephanie today about.
So,
Well, we still don't have our Fonzie anyway.
yeah. So situation normal.
Our Fonzies is the, well, we'll get there. Let's see if Chris shows up.
It's my wife. Let me get this real quick. I'm sorry. Miss Carrie.
Shanklin.
Oh,
Where
okay,
is
good,
he?
good.
Come on.
Yes, he is. Can you call him real quick? We're just about to start our meeting. Yeah. Okay, I'll be back. Sorry about that.
Did he say which airports are eating it up?
Not in the email,
What is it like? I mean, it's got to be something monstrous.
probably.
It's got to be like, DFW or Houston doing massive expansions.
Okay.
I gotta get.
Yeah, you need to let's get going. You got something at 4?
Yeah.
All right, let's get rolling.
Okay. Let's call to order. And welcome new members.
Yeah, you guys want to do a quick intro?
Okay.
Just give us a quick little bio, nothing like lengthy, just, who you are, what you like about Port A, what your interests are.
Okay, I'm Jim Ratley. I'm retired. I was the president and CEO of the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners for 32 years. I've been flying for 30 years, own a hangar over the Mustang. Been coming in and out of here for 10 years. Love the airport.
Yeah.
Love Randy. He's always just been a wonderful guy. Like to contribute what I could.
Good.
Great,
Good to have
welcome
you.
aboard.
That
Thank
sounds
you
good.
thanks for signing up.
Shanklin's not here.
No, Chris, we'll do his bio when he gets
Okay,
here.
okay.
All good.
I'm Mark Delaney. I just live on the outside of town, so I'm the outsider.
Yeah, Mark, so on our board, we allow one out of towner, which Mark fills that seat.
And so, love the airport, trying to get these hangars going. And then there's a school project trying to get aviation in the schools. That's kind of my passion.
Right.
My name is Mike Dayon. I'm Professional pilots still fly in and out of here on a pretty regular basis. Live in Port A now for over 2 years and happy to help with the airport.
Steve Wilson. I was raised here. Working oil and gas now, but I've been flying for about 12 years now. Looking hopefully the next couple of years, I might get a plane and get it based out of here. if The wife lets me.
There you go. Detailed.
Yeah, Steve and I are looking for those hangars.
Big one,
We
yeah.
can get a plane if we have a hangar.
Yeah, exactly.
Years
That's the thing.
later.
If you wait for that, you might as well just go ahead and buy.
I
the
know
plane.
that. Hey, it's easier to ask forgiveness for permission.
Yeah, that's how I got my.
Yeah.
Okay.
Randy, come on up. No citizen comments.
Well, that's a change.
Okay, aircraft count from 1st of January 21 through the end of December 21. These are aircraft that I physically counted. Actually saw the aircraft on the field, 2385. So that's about 2,000 a month, which is running just about what it always has. Fuel report. That was up 1 January through 31 December, approximately 33,000 gallons.
Hey, all right, while we're on fuel, Shanklin was wondering about the concept of having like a multi-fuel price scenario where gas is a little bit cheaper Monday through Thursday, and then it goes up Friday through Sunday. Have you guys ever seen that anywhere?
I like it.
Like a dynamic fuel.
Yeah.
Sedona, Arizona had something like that.
How do they work it?
What they do is on they've got someone who goes out and changes the price, and actually it's cheaper on the weekend. They will bring people in.
Oh, okay. We were thinking of doing it opposite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it makes-
You're not going to drive people
Yeah.
away.
Makes sense to do it that way.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
I don't think it's a
Now,
terrible idea.
Chris didn't say, I said, sounds like a scam to get yourself cheap fuel. And he said, no. He goes, I'm not interested in really making it lower. He goes, you could set the Monday through Thursday rate at what you normally would set it, and then do the bump up on the weekend.
I mean, I don't
Or
think
maybe it has a little bit of an offset.
Well, I'll just weigh in on that.
Yeah.
This airport, due to the location, I don't think you're going to bring anybody in based on the price of fuel. They're coming here or they're not coming here.
Well, no, I think Chris's idea is not so much luring people in here Monday through Friday. His idea is to get more money
During the weekend.
during the weekend when people are coming here regardless.
So you're talking about going up on price on the weekend rather than going down on price during the week.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Or do you think we're just creating
Yeah.
a bunch of work for ourselves?
how big of a
What do you
deal
think?
is it to change the price over at the?
It's
at the
kind of a
front?
pain in the ass.
it
for me to
is.
start
You'd
with.
have, you'd have to change, I would have to
And you get
change.
a reputation too, is gouging people.
Yeah,
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
We're making about $1 a gallon. That's kind of what we average. So on 33,000 gallons, last year we made $33,000.
yeah. We always try to keep it around 95 cents, right in that range.
And
So
we do that because you have to sump it so often out there. And so
Yeah.
you've got a lot of loss. I say a lot of loss. You've got more loss than a service station does because having to sump the tank and get the moisture and stuff out of the bottom of it. But it could be done. It's just Darla
Yeah.
would have to control that with
Yeah,
the,
it's-
with the fuel side.
Negative on that. Yeah.
You know, if anything, I think just raise the price of the fuel. Yeah, because I don't think anybody's gonna.
If the goal is to increase revenue for the airport,
I can tell you that the fuel prices they are
Yeah.
up. Oh my gosh.
but I'm relatively speaking, we always fall it kind of in the middle, don't we? I mean,
We try to stay competitive with TP McCampbell and Rockport are the
Yeah.
two that we really try to stay competitive with. The lowest airport in the general area is down at Robstown. They're generally always lower than everybody else. They just don't sell any fuel down there.
yeah.
You know,
Do we
it's,
have many planes that just fly here just for fuel?
not that I know of.
That's why I said
No.
we'd raise it
No.
dime or whatever a gallon, it's probably not gonna have any effect.
I don't think. it'd
That's
have
what
a
I was
big-
saying a while ago. People either come here or they don't. It's not because of fuel.
But people shop fuel, I know I do, on the little apps, because now we've got apps, and so
Yeah,
we'll look,
yeah.
and if McCampbell's, 25 cents a gallon cheaper, well, it makes sense, if you're putting, whatever, 50 gallons in, that kind of adds up. So you
And
can make
usually,
those
yeah,
stuff.
and usually the reason why you see the fluctuation is not so much that we're like gas stations where you look across the street. It's because
When
they
you buy
bought
it.
their fuel. I mean, how many, what's our timeline in between fuel purchases?
Well, it depends on time of the year.
Like, let's
During
say
the
spring.
winter time, it's once every 3 or 4 months. In
Yeah, so
summertime-
we're like, we're setting our prices because we bought our fuel 4
Yeah,
months
yeah.
ago.
Right.
Let's keep it like, I'd say just keep it like it is, stay competitive, and, because people do shop the prices,
Yeah.
since it's on all the apps.
We do try to stay competitive
Yeah.
with TP McCampbell, and every time we get a load in, first thing I do is look at the price at Rockport and at TP
Yeah.
McCampbell.
Okay, well, let's go on. We'll
Okay.
move on. See
Okay.
what-
Overnight fees collected during the calendar year 2021 was 69.75. Transient parking, these are the people that parked there but didn't pay when they left, and we sent them a bill, $4,100. So that's up. That's almost $11,000 a year there.
If you're looking to
But-
increase revenue, that might be a place to do it there too.
Yeah,
Yeah, the bottom line is on the airport here has typically always been a division that had to borrow money from other divisions to stay afloat. But the airport is getting to where I think it's probably more than break even. This
Yeah.
last
Oh,
year
yeah,
looked
we're in the
like
black.
on-
We're
on
always
the
in.
hangar leases, the vehicle parking, the fuel, the overnight parking, stuff like that. You're approaching $100,000 a year. And so it's getting to the point where it's
That vehicle parking, is that people that are here on the weekend and just,
people that's got condos and houses down here, and they fly in and want a way to get back and forth to their.
so there's a big demand for hangars then?
There's what?
A big demand for hangars.
There's a big demand for hangars.
Well,
We've got-
that's where to increase, talking about a little bit of fuel price here and there, that's
Based on
that's
this.
nothing compared to if we actually get these hangars through. That's where I think there's some increase in revenue.
Oh, yeah, that's
This
where the
is-
big money will be.
Yeah.
This is a stupid question, but is there any chance letting the private sector have a chance at building hangars? Leasing the land?
Well, we'll go over that. That's going to be in my report. We'll touch base on that.
Okay.
Okay, Dave just handed me this.
Yeah, real quick, we
regarding
discussed that.
In accordance with Article 12, the city will be conducting a hangar inspection to ensure that you're meeting FAA hangar usage regulations.
Yeah, we're going to get this notice out.
Great.
We think we got we're thinking
We're really close.
one or two.
Yeah, we're really close.
So basically what, if you guys look at this, let me grab yours real quick. I took Randy's, but basically what the FAA is saying is that they're going to give you some ancillary space on the
Yeah.
wings and back here on the tail. And as long as the blue space either has a plane in it or is empty and the storage is in those corners, they're fine. They're not going to press the issue.
Mhm.
But if you're storing boats, cars, and trucks in the blue area, you are in because we take state dollars, which are federal dollars. We have to abide by the federal rules of hangar occupation and hangar uses, and so we have to meet this. And they could come down and do a spot inspection if they wanted, but we're going to do it before
Okay.
the state comes down.
Do y'all
So
have,
we need to pick a date, but coming up soon, we're going to post this out there and come up with a date, but probably in the next month.
you have keys to the hangar?
Have what?
Keys to the get
No,
in?
I do not.
No, so we're going to have to schedule it with some people.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, we'll have to schedule it. We'll maybe put on additional notice. Remind me to, like if you're out of town, please work with staff to schedule a date.
Something I saw the other day, look, and you know more about this, when the hangar doors were open. A guy had a fairly small plane in there and had a boat next to it. I don't know how he got both of them in there, but,
You'd be surprised at some of them you look at out there. Some of them, it's boat and vehicle storage. There's
Yeah.
no aircraft to it. That's the reason for the, not many of them, but there's a few.
But if
Yeah.
there's an airplane in there, then that's
yeah. Yeah, that-
satisfactory.
Well, here's a question I had, and this is not the time to bring it up. please let me know. I flew in yesterday and I couldn't, I've got a front door on my, in front of my hangar. I couldn't find the key, so I walked around back. I got to look at it and I thought, you know, the outside of my hangar looks horrible. And, you know, I share a hangar with Huddleston.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm in a situation, I don't know if he's gonna want to put money into it. I want to paint it up.
Yeah.
Paint it up. I went out there today. There are 4 or 5, several hangar doors that got rot on them.
Yeah, looking pretty bad.
Yeah, they're looking pretty nasty. Is there any requirement that, you know, the city tells these people, you know, this?
I know Jason fixed his and, you know, several people have been working on them this year, last.
There's
year.
something in the lease.
I believe it is.
Do we have a lease? There's something about keeping it in a certain condition. I'd have to look at that and see what exactly condition means.
I can check that out for next time. If you
Yeah,
I
could
mean,
you?
some of them are really looking pretty shabby. And I mean,
But it's not that big a deal to throw a little paint on it, and
well,
those
exactly.
boards change out pretty easy, so.
Yeah, I mean, it'd
You're
be
not talking
fairly
about
easy
that
to do that. Now, one of the things Jason's working on his, and I don't care. I'm just, you know, he's trimmed it in a different color. Should we have some?
So Randy,
consistency? Should everything
get
be
with
white?
Julie
Yeah.
and
Mark put his
Review the
little, I
lease
think
and
he's
see
got
if
red
there's
around
like
his too,
some-
and then,
condition of property.
so I don't know.
Okay, well, it's
Yeah, I
it's just a
don't
thought.
I don't think that's a problem as much as just, getting some of them painted, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Back on April the 24th of 2021, we did have a crash out there. It was tail number 587 Charlie Delta, serious aircraft. There was one fatality, which is the pilot. As far as I know, that is the first fatality that Mustang Beach has had, unless it goes way back. There were 2 serious injuries, father and son passenger. NTSB did come in. I have not seen any of the final thoughts that NTSB had on what caused it. I don't know if you have or not. But
I haven't, it'll take a
last
while.
time I looked, they were still,
Yeah.
didn't know what happened. But anyway, then on January 1st of this year, we had another aircraft that landed in the water, chartered 1-2. No injuries. Tail number was 8816 Tango. The aircraft is still sitting out there. It's awaiting disposition by the insurance company, and so they should be getting that plane.
Where does it sit?
It's sitting at the end of the taxiway down there in the grass,
Oh,
and but it will be disposed of. I think the insurance company has totaled it, and so not sure why it went in the water. Just a guess. I'm going to say it ran out of fuel, but I don't know that. And that was, I think, what the thoughts were that night that I was out there, is that it was a skydiving plane, and they only put so much fuel on board when they take the jumpers up. And I don't know if it was a miscalculation or even if that was the cause. But anyway, all I know is it landed in the water. He's about 100 yards short. Recently, Dave and I talked. There was a report of a guy walking down the runway, middle of the runway, with a gun. As it turned out, it was a duck hunter. They had set up a duck blind at the end of the runway to the north, and we have got that stopped. The police now are stopping.
Isn't that considered?
The last, Dave and I talked, the last thing we need to do is track birds.
no, it's right on the border of the nature preserve.
Yeah,
Boy, oh boy.
But the rule they're
that
it
breaking.
was in the water.
One heck of a ticket there.
The rule they're breaking, luckily for us, it's in our airport ordinance. And the calling in or luring in of any wildlife is prohibited. So a duck hunter who's doing duck calls, setting out decoys, luring birds in that's the violation.
Especially at the end of a runway.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
That's not a place to be shooting up in the air.
Place.
Yeah.
But anyway, we've got that stopped. There's been some guy that's been calling me quite often out there. Well, I see somebody walking. You won't let me walk down there. It was apparently a duck hunter. I just told him, I said, well, all I can tell you is if the police see you out here, they will stop you and whatever they do. And finally, and I'm a little reluctant to bring this up. I brought it up years and years ago when I first started out there. We had a problem with fishermen crossing the runway. And at that time, I was told by the current airport, or the airport board at that time, Port Aransas is a fishing town. And even called,
Didn't that go to, went to council, didn't it?
well, I didn't, I don't know that I think it did.
I think it did, because I think Donnelly brought it to council.
Yeah, but I had called the Textile Aviation, and they basically said, well, we would prefer that they didn't do it, but that's a city airport. It's up to you guys to enforce
Yeah,
whatever rules.
right.
And that's when it went to council, and they said, it's a fishing town. Well, we kind of lived with it, but I can tell you that the Winter Texans have discovered the fishing out there is good. And boy, they have been abundant out there.
We're in that long cut.
I left
Where
there
do they
one
catch
day and I saw a bunch of them, and I thought, I was in the golf cart, and I just drove down the runway. And I counted 19 of them out there at the same time.
Oh, my
Oh,
gosh.
19 of them.
Kidding me.
They're now,
In the,
got these little-
Randy, where are they? Show me where they are. Are they in this cut thing?
yeah,
yeah.
And what they do is they park in up here behind the hangars, and they will, this is the best place to fish down here apparently.
Yeah.
And rather than park up here, walk across the runway.
Oh, they
into the
park
runway,
down by the covered boat barns.
They do, they do.
Yeah.
And then
Yes,
they
Cut
walk
right
across.
across.
Yeah.
But they've got so much equipment, they can't carry it, so they've got these little four-wheel wagons they pull. Like
Oh, jetty cart.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we've had, I know of at least 2 pilots that had to do a go-around because somebody was crossing the runway. Mark Creighton was one of them.
Okay.
You know, I guess they're as careful as they can be, but when you've got a plane coming in, you can't hear it, you know, if you're
When
at
it's
the
in the
end of the
landing
runway,
phase typically, yeah.
or you're going across the runway, and until the plane gets down, it's a little bit too late. So I guess I'm looking for, how do we enforce that? Do we want to enforce that?
Well,
I guess it depends if they're short-term renters or not.
Yeah. Way to go, Mike.
Good answer.
well,
Which it's probably going to solve itself here in a month or two. They'll probably be gone.
yeah, they'll be gone in a month.
But
Let's see what it looks like and.
I can tell you the fishing must be good because boy, there's a bunch of them out there every day. They're even out there in this kind of weather.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, they're out there a lot.
I just don't know. I mean,
I think every time I go,
people walking slowly across an active runway with a cart. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, the cart thing doesn't make me very happy because someone might just say, shit, and then they leave it and just run.
Yeah.
And the cart stays in the middle of the runway.
Well, and
only
another
takes
thing to
one
that
accident.
is you
Yeah.
wouldn't want any type of fishing lures or weights or anything dropping off of there onto the runway either.
Just,
You know, I've never
Like-
found any out there on the runway, but
I don't really think the flying and the fishing really mix at an airport. But I don't, until you have a perimeter fence, which you probably won't have for at least 2-3 years. I mean, I don't know how on earth you enforce it.
Put out
Other than
signs
putting
and
up a
hope they
sign.
listen.
I think signs help out, and I wanted to do signs on this too, because I think that would help.
Say what? Do
Just on, to make sure you have a, because I
Oh,
don't think,
yeah.
I don't think we need
keep
to
like build, like make a simpler one of that and have it posted.
have it every few hangars, just so,
Yeah.
I think that's effective. Signs are effective, and then kind of takes a little bit of the work off of
I mean,
calling people.
sure. I mean, if you put it where they park, say posted no trespassing, do not cross active runway.
The problem is that I need to go back and visit Fran. It's way back. I mean, it could be back around 2008, 2007. It was a long time ago.
I've been
When'd you
out
come on?
there for 14 years, and it was when I first started out there.
Yeah.
As I retired.
It was when Donnelly was on council. He's the one that brought it. I mean, it could be a council issue. Because it was last time, because it was some of the old locals showed up.
Well, then you
I've been
definitely,
fishing out there. You ain't stopping me. And it that's kind of how it played out.
It would be 2008 or later.
That's why there's no fence around the airport.
Seems to be a safety
Um,
issue though.
No, well, it's always been a safety issue, but the local fishing holes always outweighed it. And I
If they,
don't know if it would change.
If they park near
Until
the,
May.
near the little FBO and walk around,
that's what I tell them, is if they ask me if they can fish, I'd say we prefer you park up here in the parking lot and walk across
so
the
some
grass at the
signs
end of
like
the
that,
runway.
yeah.
The only thing I do enforce out there is absolutely no vehicles of any kind across the runway.
Yeah,
There was one guy had
They used to do that,
had a little motor scooter.
didn't they?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. He had a little motor scooter he was taking down there, and I told him, I said, you can't do that. He said, I'm going across the grass. I said, you can't take a vehicle, motorized vehicle across the runway. You just.
Yeah,
can't."
maybe that's the best thing is we direct them to park by the FBO and
Yeah.
walk across the grass and gain access so they're not
And then just some signs in between.
dragging
you know,
carts.
In between the hangars that say what to do.
Pedestrians must cross at the
End of the runway.
end of the runway.
Yeah.
Runway 30, yeah.
Cut a deal with a couple of duck hunters, take a few of them out.
Within the herd.
All right, thank you, Randy.
You bet.
City manager report.
Okay, ALP report. We kicked this off, I think, was it June?
How about there?
Right around June. I think we approved it in May. I think council approved it in May. But so this one here, here's our latest. And for you guys that weren't on, so your airport layout plan, your ALP is your, it's a tool that TxDOT Aviation uses for their planning of your airport, and any improvements that you want to do should be on your ALP, so that if you ever want to go after grants in the future,
You have to have an updated airport.
you have to have an ALP. But they don't want you to just say, hey, we're Port Aransas, we want to build some T hangars, right? And we want 90-10 money from TxDOT Aviation. Well, their response to you is going to be, well, are you guys just shooting from the hip? Have you been planning this for a long time? What's your planning guidance documents that prove that you guys have done your due diligence and really want to build nested T's? So their response is, it needs to be on your airport layout plan. If it's not on your airport layout plan, most likely they're not going to approve any capital funding for you. So in 2009, the city acquired an additional lease to the airport at this area right here. So the airport lease used to come straight down here, and it was this area right here, all the way up to Piper Boulevard. That was the lease. And in 2009, we added 35 acres to the airport lease. And we started updating the airport. We applied in 2012 for a capital improvement project. $5 million was awarded to extend 30 about 650 feet towards the highway, and then do improvements to the turnaround up here. At one point, the taxiway came all the way up along through this wetland area. So we've been through 3 major Corps of Engineer revisions that they kept getting thrown out one after another. Finally, after the 3rd revision and 9 years later, the Corps permit got approved. Corps permit just got approved September of 21. So we just got our Corps permit for this expansion here. They threw out the taxiway extension. We did get a taxiway extension right here that'll come down, it'll match the 650. And then what we did get was a taxiway off of the new end of 30. Well, 30 is not really changing. What we've got, what's it called? It's called an extension.
Displaced threshold.
Displaced threshold.
Yeah.
So the 30 still stays there. We just get extra runway to here. Coming off of this runway is also in the capital improvement project is a taxiway to this area right in here, and we get some tie downs, and we want to expand this. Now, there's a big wetland feature. You can kind of see it on here. It comes down through here, This area right there was sold off. The city bought that, and that's where you see our workforce housing project going up. So we have about 8+ acres in this area that is going to be covered in your ALP, and that's this. That was the main focus of this. And if you go to pages 4 and 5, that's kind of your 5 is the close-up version. You'll see the stuff in blue. So that's mainly what we're adding to the airport layout plan. So this was designed by AECom, and so their measurements are close for taxing. And what we discussed was the blue area, the blue boxes, those are potential future hangars. 17 and 16 are nested T's. And then 18, 19, 20, 21 through 25 are lease areas. Now, those sizes can change as long as you stay out of the light gray area. So you could change you could change the size of like this one here, like that. You could make those changes. You just can't.
So that's where the private side could come in and.
Yeah, so that's
develop.
the city, and this is up to you guys in council. We need to figure out kind of in this area here, which ones we want to hold on to. We know 16 and 17, we're going to keep for ourselves because we're going to go to, and this is getting back to Mike's, he had brought it up earlier, but we're going to go after this 90-10 money, and we're going to build those 2 sets of nested T's. And because it's 90-10 money, or maybe Mark mentioned it, but as far as a new funding source for the city, we're not going to sell those. We're going to rent them, lease them out, and that's going to be a great income source for the airport once we get those things filled.
What do you mean by nested T?
Well, nested T meaning when you build the hangar, they look like
Right.
they look like this.
Yeah.
This airplane sits in here and it goes out this way. This one sits in here and he goes out that way.
Right.
That's
Well,
just
just
that's the new
term.
way to build them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a
That's
nested
nice.
T, it's the most
Okay.
efficient
Efficient,
way to build a bunch of T hangars.
All right.
That's why I think, is that a proper term, nested T's?
Sounds perfect.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I've seen
Sounds
it.
about right.
I've seen them called nested.
Yeah.
Is up by the wing of the one.
Yeah.
They be
So
Closed?
yes, sir, they'll be enclosed hangars.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you could make them pay for that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
So-
Some great new ones.
We will have a transit area, a transient, outdoor parking that you see right there. That's in the cone, so that's good. And we've already checked all these building heights for the approach cones, and they all work out. 15 would be like a fixed base operation building. That might be your welcoming, that might be city facility, right? Where maybe Randy has an office in there. It's unfortunately, we're splitting the airport up because we just don't have the space to add it all together. But Randy, I mean, there might be a secondary, some type of,
Well, avionics, for example.
Yeah, could-
One guy that he would like to do avionics.
Yeah.
He's approached several of them. We've got no place for him to do it.
right.
Before he would do that.
Now, buildings 18 and 19, we think that those could be bigger. Maybe someone's wants to build a 4 or 5 hangar storage facility that they operate, and transients can come in and have overnight parking or
Some
repairs.
people want
big
just their
common
own corporate hangars or.
Yeah,
something like
corporate
that.
hangars. And then that's kind of what 20, 21, 22, 23. I mean, those could all be slightly reconfigured, maybe King Airs or something other, but whether or not the city holds on to 18 and 19, I don't know. I think 18 through 25 you're putting those up for leasing.
Right.
So what we need to do is we have a current list of Julie, have you gone over the list recently, or did you show her the list, the hangar lease?
I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah.
I need to get with Randy, because I'm
There's
sure.
over 50 people that's on the waiting list.
Yeah, and I think before Stephanie left, I think she updated it. She called around and kind of updated it. I think it's pretty fresh. We need to do it again. But I think what we need to do though is distinguish, and maybe we've already done it, who can be in a nested T and who needs something bigger. Is that on there? They put plane size, right?
Yeah, they have the wingspan and everything on there, what plane they're gonna have.
Yeah.
So the King Air, they gave us that for. what they
Right.
have in their hangar.
So we do have a working list that we can go by for priority purposes, but
And
but
the demands are much higher than that once you
Oh, yeah.
tell people that
yeah.
there's just,
So the ALP, Perry Havner is submitting this to TxDOT Aviation. I'm not sure what the timeline is. Did he ever
They
mention that to
originally
you?
said it was like a 9-month process.
Once they have it.
Well, to generate the ALP. Is this the final draft?
Yeah, this is it.
This
Yeah,
is it.
he's ready to
Okay.
submit it. He's got to make one correction for me, and then
Okay.
he turns this into TxDOT Aviation
Right, it was
tomorrow.
Ben and now whoever our new project.
Whoever our new planner is.
I've got her name somewhere.
Yeah, it's not
Hang on,
Stephanie Klaber, is it? She
think
was our
so.
CIP person.
let me see. So Amy Foster. Wait, no.
Oh, okay.
Michael Van Villet will be your new planner.
Michael who?
Van Vliet, Vliet.
So Michael Van V.
V is in Victor, Liet.
Okay, Michael.
There he is.
Yay!
I'm never on time. There's something wrong. Typical Shanklin. I know. Sorry.
So yes, that's our new planner.
Let me look for real quick. I'm looking through my emails from who was that guy that sent out that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dave, have you thought about as far as the leasing side and bringing in the private interest, on the tarmac whenever it's built? Have you thought about the duration of the leases that you're willing to grant?
I think we all need to work on that together. I mean, what are current hangar leases? 25?
25 years roughly.
I mean, what's someone Chris, you're a realtor. What if someone's building a $400,000 hangar? What kind of lease are they going to want on it?
Probably at least a 20-year. I would
Yeah.
say at least
So-
20. I mean, the longer the duration, the more that somebody's going to want to spend or keep that hangar.
Yeah.
In my experience, there's various ways of doing it. In Rockport, they'll write out to 50-year leases. Up in Central Texas, normally it's about a 20-year lease with a 10-year option to extend to 30.
Mhm.
But the term of the lease isn't necessarily where the teeth lies. It's what the city intends to do with the lease thereafter. That can have a profound impact on the
What do you
value.
mean? Like in some instances, the city becomes the owner?
Uh-huh.
Either that or does the lease renew if I sell it to him?
Yeah.
Technically,
Yeah.
no, in some locations.
Right,
Like in the-
and that used to be the case here and we changed it.
Yeah, so and it really stifles the growth of the airport.
Yeah,
in
Georgetown's
point,
going through that right now.
Georgetown's going through that right
Why?
now.
Because
Now-
they end up, they end up being the owners and no one wants to buy them.
Right. Well, and so if you go spend, in the case of one of these corporate hangars, is probably going to be $1 million hangar. Think of the guy with the avionics shop that wants to come here, right? He goes, takes his life-saving builds a hangar, takes him 20 years to pay it off. And by the time it's paid off, the city takes it from him.
Yeah.
Well, what else could be allowed to be
mean, it's-
built there? Because you see
Yeah.
some of these airports, the people are building hangars and like a barn-dominium essentially.
Right.
Some about pools right there,
Yeah.
right next to their hangar.
Well, I
So
think you
what-
Well, I think as long as there's a lease adjustment,
Yeah, you want
capability.
a rate kicker.
Yeah.
yeah,
But what I would suggest is that you have an ability to reassign the lease.
Yeah.
And if you were to sell it to somebody new, that they can apply to have a new lease considered.
that's what we're doing now. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I mean, what we do now is, if you sell right now the leases are on a certain timeline for renewal and for a rate increase.
Mhm.
And what we do is, if you come in and buy it, you get the timeline, you get the new 20 plus years, but you don't start the rate increase back at zero. So in other words, if Hangar X was set for a rate increase in 2025,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter who buys or sells it, that clock never changes.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
that's
that's
what
fair.
that's what we're doing now, and that seems to no
And-
one.
Historically, the
Has any issues with
lease rates aren't all that substantial.
Yeah.
Right. So a price increase on a lease, it's not going to dissuade somebody most likely.
No,
from
I
coming
think
in and
that's
building a
how
hangar.
I envision that's how we'll be doing these.
Yeah, if you can afford that hangar,
Sure.
I just paid $2,250
Mhm.
for my yearly lease. Yeah, that's not even a problem, but I've got a friend in Georgetown that has got a beautiful hangar. She paid well north of the 300,000 for it. It's got 10 years left on the lease and the city's not renewing it.
No, the
So
city.
that's what you, because you have a couple hangars in
Yeah.
Georgetown.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've moved out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shut her down.
And,
But yeah, no, Georgetown's going through that. So now they're landlords. And in the case of like the avionics shop just north, I assume you're talking about Beth's place.
yeah, so
Yeah. So in the case of the avionics shop just to the north, I mean, the owner of that place took 15 years, paid off his building.
Yep.
And at the end of 15 years, the city took his hangar and now he's paying in rent what he was paying off his mortgage for.
yeah,
I
I mean,
think that's a little extreme.
Yeah.
yeah, Beth has got this $300,000 plus hangar and someone's offering her 90 for it.
I think if we can get the
So-
nested T's built, we'll be doing fine.
Oh, yeah. No, from a monetary
Yeah.
standpoint, you only have to come up with 10% of the actual cost to build it. It's a home run for the airport.
Yeah.
It's a home run for the city, really.
Yeah.
So, but as far as the leasing on the perimeter areas, yeah, just come up with, it sounds like you already just
Yeah.
keep what you have in place.
Would our goal be to make more nested Ts in out of the perimeter area, or is it better my question is it better for the city to have some lease out some places, like 16 and 17, or is it better for the?
I think if the city had 16 and 17. I mean, here's the other thing is that we have a big swing right now in wetlands. And this area right here along the road that was very problematic, right here. This was very problematic to put dirt in, but I bet you if we redid it right now, it'd be non-jurisdictional.
I thought you got didn't we get the?
We got our
or something?
permit.
Yeah.
We got our permit, but if you remember, in
It
the
took 5 years or something.
first version, that's where we were expanding. We were expanding transient parking into that area along the Piper Boulevard. and we removed it because of wetland problems. It was too big of a wetland impact, so we pulled out of there. But I bet right now
It's a lot easier to.
that's all going to be now it's jurisdictional on the other side of the runway because you have the tidal influence that's coming in here. So these are probably very different. You probably have tidal, these are tidal. So they're still jurisdictional. This is unconnected, it's not connected and it's probably non-jurisdictional. So we could potentially expand into that area in the future.
Okay.
And you can put nested T's in there.
This is kind of off topic, but I know Mark and Chris go to what's that airport that has a little restaurant that Mark always goes to? Anyway, restaurants are popular in
Yes.
airports. Is there a possibility, or should we think about having an area for a restaurant? It's a neat.
Just south
There's a
of
couple up
Houston.
in near
What's the one?
Houston,
Bay
like
Yeah.
City?
Jackson,
Not Bay City.
Brenham.
15 could be a restaurant.
Okay.
Gulf
Yeah.
Coast.
Is that something that we?
Yeah.
I
No,
think it
Lake
would be a
Jackson.
big draw if
Yeah,
it was
Lake Jackson.
15 because it's right along the road.
Yeah.
It could draw people there as well as pilots and
Plenty of
Yeah.
parking.
Because 15 could be, outside the fence.
Sure.
It could be an office, restaurant.
okay.
Well, that might be another really good revenue opportunity for the airport is if you were to lease it out because
Well,
it's already
we-
got an
we-
FBO.
We $100 hamburger run,
Right.
Randy, remember our first designs? The lease is very restrictive
So
for,
it has to be for aviation purposes.
yeah, like for a while there, we were thinking, hey, let's build a big strip center
Mhm.
and just lease it out to anyone
Right.
and make money for the airport. And TxDOT Aviation said, nah, your lease doesn't give you that amount of freedom. It has to be, but they did say that most likely a airport themed restaurant that's attached to your FBO, like the one over in, doesn't Rockport have one? Don't they have an airport themed restaurant?
Not in Rockport. no.
Fredericksburg has a great,
Fredericksburg does.
Fredericksburg.
Brenham had a good one.
Yeah.
Get that.
and so
They
it's
used
a
to.
popular thing to do, and I think it
Does
would work
Rockport have
really.
a coffee place maybe? I thought they had something. in
They've
there.
got vending machines and, hot coffee that they serve you just inside the terminal building.
The only thing though is as many fine restaurants as we've got here in Port A. Do you want to try and compete with those?
I just think aviation theme is
Oh,
kind of fun.
I agree, that's always
Yeah.
popular, but another problem that a lot of pilots have when they fly in here is there's no way to get around. I mean, they gotta take the bus or
Right.
what have you. I mean, and I don't know if there's room for, some-
Well, I think
Well,
we
there-
can, I
and
think we
there's-
can work
there's
that out
Gulf
with
Coast
some,
taxi, which is like $6. It'll take you anywhere you want.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or something
At
like
some
that.
point, you're gonna have to look to vegan.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
had several
Okay.
people ask about,
Yeah.
would the city be amenable to them coming in and putting covered vehicle
Yeah.
parking? The problem is, where do you put it? We're about to run out of space out there.
Oh, I know, yeah.
So we're gonna go 680 feet extra, and we're at what, 33 right now? 3,300? That'll give
Yeah.
you four.
Yeah.
Can you land a jet?
Oh, yeah.
Why don't we have is jet fuel also on the agenda ever to possibly come up with? something like
That's a quickie. I mean, we can pull the trigger on that.
And King Air is coming
You'll
all the time.
have a higher fuel
Yeah.
volume.
King-
The only thing that you step into there once you start providing jet fuel in most cases is that you're going to want to have somebody that's going to pump it for them.
Right, it's a lot more
Um,
intense as far as.
Your pilot's got his, corporate uniform on, and if it typically, your weekend flyer that's flying around in a piston isn't going to give a darn. They're not going to pay an extra 10 cents typically to go have somebody pump the fuel for them. But the guy that's driving the King Air or the jet, they don't want to drag that hose, get all dirty. So I've seen this in Taylor where it was a self-serve system. And there'd be plenty of turbine aircraft that came in transient, and the fuel price would be dirt cheap, and they still wouldn't take any gas because they didn't want to pump it themselves.
Right.
But if the city had somebody that would pump it for them,
Yeah.
they'd buy gas all day long.
Randy will do it.
Oh.
And that's exactly what we ran into in Taylor.
Well, let me jump on to the next item
please.
so that Mike can stay on task. Our capital improvement project, so that was the one I mentioned That's the $5 million extension of the runway, taxiway, transient, getting over to our new dirt. It's been on the capital projects list since 2012. It comes and goes. I noticed I called Stephanie the other day because I was like, hey, where's my damn project? She's like, it's in there. Just, we need to, the funds come and go. And if you don't grab your money, you get back in line for it. The money's going to be there. Like I said, we just got our core permit in September. That was a huge lift. Unfortunately, because it's the feds, it then goes to the EPA's desk, and it's in the final process called the FONSI, which is FONSI, which stands for Finding of No Significant Impacts. So unfortunately, it's an environmental review of your core permit. So if you're a regular citizen, you just get your core permit and you're doing backflips because you're finished. With us, it's the review of the core permit, which is pretty depressing because the core permit took us 9 years to get. Yeah. So hopefully the FONSI is supposed to have 180-day, which we've already passed. But our environmental engineers, she checks on it about every 3 weeks and make sure it's at least in the queue moving. So that has to happen. And then the CIP gets back in place. And, it's a pretty horrific process, but we just got to keep plugging away at it. The city has about 50 million right now in capital projects this year.
Oh, wow. And with the drainage.
With FEMA and
yeah, there's probably more to come.
it's
The
massive.
gas line, all kinds.
Yeah, our gas system's 36 million. Wow, that's kicking on. It's a big year. It's a big capital year, but this thing, as quick as we can get it out to bid, it's an aviation project. So we're kind of at we're on our knees when it comes to it, but
So once
it's
the
an important
Fonzie-
project with a city. We just got to keep the heat on them once we get our FONSI to
Okay.
get the director and get our new planner.
Mhm.
And just, the good part is that we'll be shovel ready. That's the difference between us and all these other projects that are on the wish list. Guess what? They don't have their permits. So once we're shovel ready, I think funding wise, we'll start moving up to the top of the list.
Cool.
Because that's what they're looking for.
Right.
They got to spend their money. And if you're not shovel ready, you're just like we were 4 years ago. We didn't have a permit in hand.
Right.
So once we get our FONSI, I think our position rapidly improves for digging dirt because they can get the bid out pretty quick. It's engineered, permits are in place. They put the bid out for a month, and we should be able to turn dirt. So once we get our FONSI, I think we'll be in a good position.
With the extension of this runway, will it require for any length of time shutting the airport down?
It depends. The runway, I think in the project, it does have a resurfacing of the entire thing because they're doing it all at once. So I think they try to manage it as best they can.
Yeah. When they did this in Taylor,
Yeah,
I don't think the airport was ever shut down for more than a week.
okay.
They
Just when they
I
resurface.
just
yeah,
wanted to
they
predict
tried to
long-term.
do it in a matter of days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they put out NOTAMs,
Yeah.
kept up on the schedule. Even Georgetown recently, you remember
Right.
when they were redoing runways and resurfacing, they really limited the damage and they tried to do it on a Sunday afternoon or something.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
Mesquite actually let people land on the taxiway.
we've done that in Taylor as well.
So that's all I got, guys.
Okay.
So is there anything that we can help as a board to expedite the FONSI?
No.
Well, and I guess the other thing to consider there is we're shovel ready, we get the Fonzie, but then if TxDOT doesn't have the matching funds, then that could be a potential delay.
Well, yeah, but the good part is that they're looking for projects that are shovel ready. I mean, when they got their pot of money, they're throwing it at the shovel ready project. So,
Well,
yeah.
stand a good chance, but like big picture planning, at least from what I read from Ben,
Yeah.
it could still be maybe 1 to 2 years before breaking ground.
So they issue that? Is there
Yeah,
any kind of public comment period that they have to go through, or?
No, we've been through all the public comment period was with the permitting, the core permitting. Yeah. Yeah, tons of public comment. All right.
Any? We on to items for consideration?
No,
We're on D, 6D.
Okay. Make a motion to approve the minutes from March 3rd, 2021.
Second.
Y'all do call the roll.
Do we?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. Can you go ahead and call the roll? So, Dan,
Yes.
James Ratley,
Yes.
Chris Shanklin,
Yes.
Steve Wilson.
Yes.
That's it. Motion
Mark
carries.
Delaney.
yes.
Did you call Mark
Mark
Delaney?
Delaney. Did you call Mark Delaney? Yeah, I thought that. I'm sorry. Mark
Oh, did
Delaney.
she?
Okay.
There's a yes out of Mark.
Oh,
Yeah, there's a yes.
all right.
Thank you.
Mark, that's you, buddy.
Oh, good. We found a super cool little program. The school wants to implement it. It's little remote control airplanes, and it has a lot of the STEM, the science, technology, and but they got to a hurdle to where we don't have it funded. So I need to call pilots and beg for money. So I think if we can get, I think it's somewhere between $2,000 to $5,000. We could start a program in the school. So I just need to fundraise among pilots. But it's a really cool program. So I'd like to email some information out to anybody that's interested.
Have you looked at doing another like fly-in day or something to?
I've been focused with the school and getting something in the school, and with the after-school program, it's called ACE. Yeah, you're good. Okay, thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Sorry, I got cheer practice.
It's just a neat little turnkey program for the school, and they want to do it, but they just didn't get that last little funding. I think if I could get a little bit in there, this first little thing in there, get our foot in the door, then they will have money to
Hey,
do
talk
it.
with me. My wife's on the PAVE board, and they do stuff like that.
Okay, what is it?
The Puerto Rican Education Foundation.
Okay.
And I can talk with her about it.
Okay. It's
Yeah, I mean that's
Okay.
exactly what they do. So.
Yeah.
okay. And I think some other pilots might, I hate to ask people when I can't really,
Yeah.
I kind of have,
Well, I know PAVE had a very successful
okay.
fundraising year, so.
Okay. This is it's really age appropriate for the middle school, really fun. I think I think it's an easy sell because it's easy for the teachers. So, okay. And that's it. That's my report there.
Hey, did you find that article?
I actually called the Port Aransas school district, and what they have
Was it Portland?
I I called Portland.
Yeah, Portland.
And I found somebody that's in charge, and I think it's a drone program.
Oh, okay. That's what it was.
Yeah. And so, but I have the lady there. I'm going to
Yeah.
kind of send her some information that I found with the two little, this little remote control program. And then there's another one that EAA does that's where you just kind of do little crafty things that aren't very
Right.
expensive. But I
Right.
think this remote control one seems like the kids
Yeah.
will get real excited about.
Cool.
A lot of things for them to learn, putting little electronics together and whatnot.
All right.
But I did call over there and did some research. So thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Infrastructure and possible grants.
Okay, so two things on this one. Infrastructure, and this is really just an update because what we'll need, and when I'm talking about infrastructure improvements is on the existing side, one of the topics has been running sewer.
Yep.
Running a sewer line along the back of the hangars. The problem is that it's the sewer over in that area. It's very deep and it would be very expensive. So we would have to see if and last time we did the research on it, we polled the hangar owners to see if they were interested in doing like maybe a sewer assessment where everyone's splitting the cost, and there was not a whole lot of interest because it was pretty pricey. For the city to do it, I think it'd be a stretch. So that's one thing we need to look at. You know, the hangar owners can talk amongst themselves and see how bad they want a toilet out there.
No,
Right, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, do you want to put in 20 grand for a sewer?
no.
There you go.
I don't have-
But there will be sewer and water at the front
Yeah,
by
I
the
mean,
highway.
well, we already have sewer and water at the FBO.
What the new?
I'm talking about the new addition.
But yeah, that's that's the only infrastructure really on the existing side. On the other side, we need to be ready at some point when we get a little bit further along in the actual engineering of this site, where the city stubs in, water, sewer, electric, to get that thing rolling. Because once TxDOT comes in here, they'll have pavement up to the transient area, and then that's it. They won't build the parking or any of the other pavement. They're not building any of that. That's going to be all on the city's nickel. And so we'll have to figure out immediately at least how to get electric and water in there.
One other thing, and
I mean, we're a couple years away from it, but it's just something that we got to keep aware of.
just to keep in your mind as we're working, and Randy can tell you more about this, the tie downs from the hangar to the terminal.
Yeah.
Every time you get a good rain there or underwater, I mean, you see planes with, wheels completely underwater. And, of course, those pilots have got some work to do on their plane at that point.
Yeah.
And I know this is, with everything else, is way down on the list, but
I don't know, Randy, if that little 4-inch line plugged, or is it affected from high tide?
It's affected high tide. So you've got in that infield area out there, there's one drain from the whole infield area. It's about this square. And any water that accumulates on the infield, it stands there and it goes down under the taxiway, under the ramp area, across under Piper Boulevard, and then makes a right turn and goes into the
Through the bulkhead and
the marina over there.
into the marina.
And what it is, the drain that's going into the marina, if it's high tide, it can't go.
Yeah, if you get a super high tide,
And that.
it won't drain until the tide backs out. And so you get like
And that's when it rains heavily.
and you get it. So if you get you'll get a 2 to 4 hour window of the tide blocking the outfall. And it won't go down until the tide drops because it's so low over there.
well, like I say, I got a hangar, so I feel
Yeah.
for people that are parked.
Yeah. Now the new one will have it elevated.
Okay, good.
Yeah. The other task on that, so anyway, infrastructure, something we need to work on. We don't need to target it right now because we need to get further along in the design of this. So that's to come. Possible grants, we talked about it earlier. As soon as we get our ALP and possibly our capital project off the ground, we want to apply for $90-10 to build these two nested Ts. Yeah.
I think there's enough room to build 3 nested tees, just to be honest.
I don't think so.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I was looking at the hangar in Sugarland, and there's 80 feet between those hangars.
That's
There's
what,
100.
that's less.
This is 158.
No, that's not right.
Jay, put on your glasses.
It
No.
says 158.
It's,
is
that's
158.
incorrect.
Well, it says, that's what it says.
Yeah, Sugarland, they're packing them in, man.
Well, I'm thinking if you could do down to 100, you could get 3 of those nested tees in there. Put 100 feet between them. I mean,
More income and more happy pilots if it's possible.
well, I mean, that'll give you 58 feet here and another 58. That'll give you your other 100
Yeah, they
feet.
can't be. Because you look at the scale, it's.
So maybe the thing's wrong.
Yeah, that means if that's 156, that mean that nested T is 80 feet.
According to the scale, it's about 80 feet, it looks like.
How long is your plane?
Mine? 20,
Exactly. So
You-
something's off with the scaling
Yeah,
because
it is.
23
If
feet.
you look at
Because
it,
36 feet
if
wide,
you
like
scale that
22?
width right there on that nested
I don't
T
know.
is
Well, you
80
got-
You
feet.
got the
I don't
graphical
know.
scale
about
right
22
there.
feet.
Yeah.
You know why that is?
38.
It's not 100 feet,
36
it's like
is my
80.
wingspan. That's all.
It should be about 80.
It
Then
looks like
that's
about 80.
better. Yeah, I think I got about 21 or 22.
I'm gonna have to
feet.
ask our guy on that. I think
I think they're
that's-
like
that scale's
42
wrong.
feet wide and about 35 feet deep.
The scale's wrong.
I
Yeah.
know with Georgetown hangar, their
Definitely.
door is 40 feet.
Yeah, because the nest, that makes the
I think our
nested
doors
T
are
80
42,
feet deep and it doesn't need to be 80 feet
Yeah.
deep.
Yeah, so then 150.
Because the nested T is only about 40 feet
Yeah.
deep.
No, that scale is not correct.
Okay, then that's not right. 158 feet.
I knew it was because I freaking drew it.
Well, it says 158 feet. in there.
I know, but he screwed up my drawing.
Oh, okay. Blame it on somebody else. If we have enough room, 3 would be awesome.
No, we don't. Just 2. But you get like, I think there's 12 in each one, 10 or 11 or
On
12.
each side, I mean, on total.
Total, yeah. Yeah, because remember, you're not going wing tip to wing tip, but
11.
yeah, you end up with about 24 units, which is pretty damn
Rented by
good.
the city.
You know, what do you get in a month for one of those?
Out there, 500, 600, 700 bucks a month.
You think?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm paying $360 a month at Georgetown, and I'm just waiting for them to double that.
So you think we could get 400?
And when they
I'd say,
do,
I'd say
I'll
you can get,
Yeah, so that thing's gonna generate a
I
chunk
think,
of change, man.
I'd say you could probably price them at 500 bucks a month.
Whatever we
Let's be
build, we'll
honest.
fill up.
I think you could, I mean, the other ones are getting 5, 6, 4 to 500.
Yeah, that's good money. I mean, that's 150K a year. Could pay Randy's salary.
Yep.
Get a raise.
So is there a reason?
If you pump-
So kind of back to my question,
Yeah.
is there a reason why we have 20, 23, 24, 25, and 26 open and not building some more of our own for? 'cause-
No, I mean, it's really, I'm kind of deferring to you guys on the percentage between public and private.
How are you going to come up with prices
For what? For dirt?
for dirt land?
We
leases?
just,
Like if
we're gonna
I,
do a study and we're gonna figure out what the state average is and we're gonna come up with a good price and we're gonna recommend it to council.
you know, because when Donley was here several years ago, you sold the right to Bobby Patton for $125,000 to be able to do. I mean, how are you going to come up with these numbers to, here, Chris, you can build a building here. We'll give you a 20 lease. It's going to cost you X. Well, what is X? How are you going to come up with X? You know,
And is there any reason?
We're
to
not
give
gonna
them plenty-
charge someone,
City build the whole.
we're not gonna auction these off like we did.
That's what I'm thinking.
okay.
Yeah, that's.
We have the list and we're going down the list.
So I want 2 because I have 2 planes and I can say I want maybe one in 17 and then one in 20 because I can do a workshop too as a mechanic. I'm on the list to get it and then I just pay the lease. I don't have to pay you the right to own.
No, we're
But I have to
not- we're
build
not
my
gonna-
own building.
I don't think we wanna get into that. like we
But I
did
have to build
Pat.
my own building.
Oh,
right?
yeah, it's your
Okay.
own building.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're just gonna sign a lease contract.
Okay.
So yeah, these people that are getting in, it's winning the lottery, right?
I still think it's probably better for the pilots if we have more city owned, and also better for the city because it's more revenue.
I agree with that.
I do too. I don't know that.
Yeah.
I'd have the city build a whole thing.
Yeah. You're gonna get someone buy, 19 good sized space and
Yeah.
park their one or
Yeah.
two private
Yeah.
planes in
Is there
there.
a possibility
We
of the
could
city
have
building the
parked,
whole thing?
5 or 6.
Yeah, you got buildings that got very low
Yeah.
maintenance.
Yeah. As long as there's we could bond it and we could build it, as long as we can prove financially that it's a good payback and a good deal for the city, I don't think a council's gonna have any qualms with not building
What
it
I
out.
see is it's easier for the small fry pilots if the city owns it, but then the more income that the city makes, the safer the airport is in the long run from people that aren't pilots.
Well, like for example, what do you think a structure is for a King Air?
To build.
Yeah. A hangar for a King Air, 400K?
No, well,
Three?
in today's market, they just built one over there in McCampbell. It was close to 300,000. It was 100 by 120 or something.
They've done a lot of building of hangars
I
over
mean,
there
it
in the
is.
last 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, the one at McCampbell was.
And they even did another one within the last
What do
4
you-
years,
what
I
do you-
think, right?
What do you think you rent one of those out for? Couple grand a month?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But if they're paying $300,000 for these hangars now, it's, and your comment was, you win the lottery if you get one of these. I think it's,
130.
I think it's, I'm just looking at it from,
We just gotta do the math, what does the city make on a
Yeah, that one in AP
on a
is.
$400,000 building? I mean, do you how many years are you amortizing out a hangar? Like, is it like a house, 30 years, or is it 15 years? If it's 15 years, you're not making your money back.
what's Sugarland doing? I mean, they've been,
I don't know. That's a,
because they've done a fantastic job
those
over
are
the
all,
last
those are all
20
rentals.
years.
They're all
All
city owned.
They're all rentals. Paid the airport owns them. Well, city.
That
Yeah.
airport's done I mean, granted, it's a feeder from,
Another airport in the Houston area that's very similar to ours is Northern Regional. It's all city owned.
Been there
too.
many
They've
times, but they've
been
got a
doing
long
big
runway.
expansion.
They've got
on
a
it.
huge runway
Yeah.
too.
They've been doing big.
Yeah, it's just money. It's,
do we? as a
can we
board
make our money back and
Research a little bit more on.
Yeah,
that?
we
Is
gotta
that
totally do the research on it. I mean,
But
we're
you're
a
gonna-
ways away from
You're
it.
gonna have to go. I mean, like Randy's not gonna pump gas or whatever. But you want a big King Air hangar, you're gonna have, okay, all right, it's $100, $150 a night. They'll pay that for it to sit there for 3 or 4 nights. But you gotta have the car and you gotta have somebody that's gonna fill it up. You gotta have somebody that's gonna park it, because they're gonna park the hangar right there in front of the taxiway and say, here, see you later. The brakes are off.
You're gonna have to have a full-fledged.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
gonna park it and
Yeah,
and
see,
we'll
I
say,
mean,
see you later.
The beauty of the nested T's is it's 90-10 money,
Yeah,
and we're just stuffing money in our pockets.
yeah.
The
But
other
once you start getting into the city building a King Air, I don't think you make your money back.
I think the 16 and 17 owning. What did happen to over here? You're talking about on the south side of the end of the runway that was wetlands that
Yeah.
was issues.
We just took it out of the project. We still own it.
If you made, just curious, if that is now parking, like there's 8 parking spots over here, if you took these parking spots over there, that's by 16 and 17 and had 4 nested T's and then
Yeah.
put the rest of your parking.
Oh,
in.
get rid of the transient?
Put the transient over here on the left where it's
No,
wetlands.
Right.
Put the transient where it's wetlands and then make 4 nested T's. That's just more money for the city. That's $300,000
well,
a year.
you might be able to get one more. I think you start hitting your cone approach.
Mhm.
See those diagonal lines cutting through the,
Yeah.
Yep.
I think you might be able to get a T in there, but I'm not sure you'd get a fourth because of that cone approach.
No,
We get a third in there. I
No.
think that's better than.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could, if you get a third in and then put that transient parking over here, no, you can't. You can't do it because of the. No, yeah,
Well,
you
you
can put
get a-
transient parking in your cone. You're okay.
Well, there's only 8 transients. There's only 8. If you get rid of that middle transient and put a nested T there,
Uh-huh.
you're only losing 8.
Yeah, but I'm
8.
saying put the transients over here where it says electric vault terminal building.
Yeah.
Add on to that.
Well, we could always,
It's income.
once this is finished, we could, in a future date, we could put a third hangar there if we wanted to. But that's where the money is, especially if you get that 90-10 money.
And that keeps the airport safe, I think,
Yeah.
from people that are,
I mean, you
That
get
are
the
not
90-10
pilots.
money, you're
you know,
stuff it,
airport
you're,
generating money. Okay. well,
the
we can keep
90-10 T hangars,
Yeah.
you can't compete
More
with it.
revenue we get coming in, the better it looks.
Because I don't think TxDOT builds stuff like, for us, they're not gonna, I don't think they're gonna build us King Air hangars.
No King Air, no restaurants.
No. They'll give you that nested T money, but I think that's about it. But that's where the money
But
is.
yeah, that's what we want, yeah.
Yeah,
The other stuff can
All
follow.
right. I gotta pick up Wendy.
yeah. All right, that's all I have on grants. And then, okay, just item G is just to put since we're gonna start meeting more regularly again, so you guys know our cycle. In the summertime, city council puts its budget together. And it's about a 4-month process. It's May, June, July, August. Well, it goes into September. We approve it the first week of September. But we have what is called a goals workshop in June or early. When's our goals? June?
This depends, June or July.
Yeah, early. It's either late June or early July. And what they do at the goals workshop is council takes all the departments, put together their wish list. This is what we like. And then we prioritize it, give it to council, and council eliminates 95% of it, but something like that. So that it's the process of getting a budgeted item funded. And it starts off with your wish list. And we need to have our wish list ready by about May, Randy. So like if Randy has repairs to the FBO or sandblasting and repainting the tank,
Yep.
gas tank, things like
that.
that, we need to identify all that stuff. We do have a ramp grant that we can get some funding, so we can throw some stuff at the ramp grant, but other stuff is gonna come out of the airport wish list. So just kind of, if you guys are out there and you see things that aren't, not like the hangar personnel stuff, that's
Mark and I
private.
put together, we have a good list.
Yeah, but
Mark
you
has
know,
it, yeah, and it's a good,
Did y'all put on there about the ramp area and all of that needing to be a sealer or something put on it? The
Yeah,
rocks and everything, I mean, that's really.
there's a lot of rocks out there
yeah.
and it's not gonna get any better. by
Do we need to
itself.
get a street sweeper out there?
Yes,
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to get Doug on that.
Yeah, remind me on that
We did
one.
it not too long ago.
All right, let's get them
yeah,
again.
there's a lot of rocks, yeah.
Okay. So things like that, we need to, if you guys
Okay.
just start jotting them down and then we'll
Okay.
start collecting them in
Can we
April
put
and
it on the
May.
agenda for next time, just to discuss?
Yeah,
it? We
yeah,
do
let's just have a
good list.
discussion and then
Okay.
we'll try to finalize our list in May
Okay,
and then get it to council.
okay.
And that's all that is.
Mark put that together. I just kind of
Okay.
drove around with him
Yep.
and said, yes, but he did a good job on it.
When do I have to go pick up Quinley? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, we're good.
When do we
That-
got
that-
we
we're
gotta
on
meet
item.
again? When do we want to try to meet again?
I think it's, what is it? We're kind of late February right now. We got 2 weeks of spring break coming in March, which eats me alive. So I think or early April.
Okay,
So we'll have Julie send out some dates. Okay, but you guys like Tuesday, Wednesdays, we usually try to target
Are good, yeah.
3-ish and we try to just poll everyone and see when we can get you guys. Okay, so Julie, we'll shoot for
April
early
6th?
April.
April 6th or something? That's
Only
first
thing
week.
we
of
can
April.
do-
First 2 weeks of April.
I try to spend each January in Hawaii.
There you go.
Yeah, we can just not meet.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the six, I mean, the six-ish, like you said.
That's first.
All right, we done?
We're done.
Gavel.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.
Thanks, everyone. Nice meeting you guys.
All right.